You want more wealth in your life, but somehow you find that it's evading you, avoiding you. You see, next to wanting to be loved and appreciated for who we are, we all have a degree for financial security, for wealth in our life. And the reason why it's probably evading you is because you're either infatuated with it or you're resentful towards it. If you're infatuated with it, that means you have a lopsided perception. Either way, you have a lopsided perception. That you see the benefits without the drawbacks. You see the support without the challenge. You see the good without the bad. And if you're resentful towards it, obviously you're not going to attract that in your life either, because you might think that, wealthy people are misers, wealthy people are mean, they're up themselves, pardon the French. See, neither one is a balanced perspective. You have to have a balanced orientation about wealth for you to achieve it. And the way to do that is to learn to love it. When I say love it, I'm not talking about the romantic love, the emotional love. I'm talking about seeing both sides and willing to accept both the pain and the pleasure in the pursuit of wealth. And the way to do that is to have a purpose or a vision greater than what you're demonstrating at the moment. That way, it'll drive you further. Because your innermost dominant thoughts, right, of space and time will determine the level of conscious evolution that you've achieved in life. What do I mean by that? Let me run you through an analogy to show you what I mean. Don't get caught up too much in the analogy to miss the wisdom or the principle behind what I'm talking about. I'm going to assume that you are a worker, bear with me. I'm going to assume that you're a factory worker. As a factory worker, would you agree that you're mainly driven, with your needs from day to day? So your thinking is from day to day. You're thinking about where am I working tomorrow, what shift do I have, and how much money will I make for that shift, and so on. So your thinking in your space horizon is from day to day. And what happens is that you're driven by more of your animalistic nature. In other words, you will seek pleasure and you'll avoid pain because you're living from day to day. As a supervisor, you might be living from week to week. Lower management, you might be living from month to month. So your thinking and your thoughts and your planning is from month to month. You're thinking, are we going to achieve budget this month? Are we going to hit target? Will our expenses be low enough? And so on. So you're living from month to month. And your thinking is from month to month. As a middle management, you might be thinking from year to year. Our product range is going to be introduced or rolled out, and how will it affect the market over the next year or so. As a CEO, you're thinking of generation to generation. Our product and or services, how will they be affecting generation Y? How will they be affecting generation X and the baby boomers and so on? So your thinking and your thoughts are greater. They're over a 10-year period, a generation, and so on. And as a visionary, you might be thinking in hundreds of years. And as a sage, you might be thinking in thousands of years, like the Buddha. And if you want to go one step more, as a soul, well, that's eternal. Right? So, if you're not willing to put up with both the pleasure and the pain in the pursuit of your purpose, you're going to be thwarted. Because as soon as the challenges arises, you're going to stop. Why? Because you're only seeking one side. You think that there's pleasure with achieving money and achieving wealth. And as soon as a roadblock gets in the way, you're going to stop. Why? Because you're living from day to day or week to week or month to month. A stupid analogy. But would you agree that if you were a factory worker, and let's say they had an office affair, all right, that they'll be talking about that and they'll be snickering the next day. They'll be talking about it for a day or two. As a supervisor, they'll be talking about that affair for a week or so, all right? And as a lower management, they might be talking about that for the next year. Would you agree that we'll be talking about Monica Lewinsky and President Bill Clinton over the next 100 years, 200, maybe 1,000 years? Now, that analogy is a negative one, but I want to show you that you must be willing to put up with both the pain and the pleasure, because if you're not willing to do that, you won't rise up the socioeconomic ladder. The pain, or should I say, the praise and reprimand gets bigger and stronger as you move up. If you're not willing to play in this arena here, right, you'll never achieve the level of wealth that you desire. You'll be living from week to week, from month to month, from year to year. And most of us, would you agree that there's more month at the end of the money than money at the end of the month? Why? Because our thinking, our goals, our vision, our purpose is fairly limited. So if you want to play, then you've got to play on a bigger scale, beyond your city, beyond your state, beyond your country. You must think globally or internationally in order for you to put up with all the things that are going to come, all the obstacles and the pleasures that are bound to come in the pursuit of that. Now, I use a Bill Clinton analogy because we will be making mistakes along the way, right? And you have to be willing to put up with the repercussions of those mistakes, as you do with the praises that you'll be getting along the way. If you're only looking for the praise without the reprimand, then, as I said, you're limiting yourself. You've finited the infinite potential that you can have. So have a goal, have a purpose, have a vision greater than what you're currently demonstrating. That way you will get up in the morning and you put up with the pain and the pleasure, the supporters and the challenges along the way to pursuing that. If you like what I've just shared with you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's more of this coming along the way. In the meantime, I'll see you at the top. Thanks for your time.